Folks, welcome in the sportsbookreview.com. It's Friday, and it's time to talk some Major League Baseball. Big-time cardio on a Friday. We've done very well on Fridays as well. Looking forward to today. We also have one afternoon baseball game we'll get to in just a few moments, but the weekend is here. The weekend is near. I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We are the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team, and it's time to get busy, Jason. How are we feeling today?
Feeling awful. Just got the Cubs striking out, throwing out a double play on a ball four. Yeah, that was nasty. And then last night we had the Astros, and they had 8 runs and still couldn't get the job done. So, yeah, this is just my luck. Welcome to my life. And we'll just move on to Kyle, who has the best luck, and he's destroying right now. So listen to him. Maybe don't listen to me right now.
Well, don't jinx me. Jinxing me right away.
Bat, he's pushing it. See, he didn't push it over to me, so I'm happy to dump it on Kyle.
Yeah, I wouldn't follow me at all now. Everything's going to shit tonight. I can already tell. No, that's a good day. We had a good day yesterday. And overall, even though sometimes the plays of the day don't work out, but the overall record was fantastic, and there was a lot of good stuff. And I know that there's some risky plays today. Some cojones are on the table today. I can't wait to get to Donnie's best play and banker of the day. So I'm excited. It's Friday. I'm ready for it to be Friday, too. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Yep, in a couple days, but I will be back in play with a play of the day that does include me calling a hotline for a Major League Baseball team to make sure a roof is open tonight. So stay tuned for that one and much, much more. But before we get to this game right here with the Chicago Cubs, recap a little bit yesterday. Boy, it was nice. I had a small bet yesterday on the Marlins, cashed it in the second inning, was able to sit back and relax the rest of the way. I know Kyle had a big day. You know Jason's going to be able to bounce back today as we watch this Cubs game take place here in sunny Chicago. But again, we do have an early afternoon game, which we're going to get to right now, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs. I don't have any wagers on this, but I have to say, Jason, I started the day when I first opened up the odds. There were 4 games I circled with a possibility of a team total. One of them was the Cubs. Tell us what you're looking at today between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, Oviedo on the mound for the Cardinals. He does not have a career win on his record just yet this year. Has really high xFIP in the last 30 days. 7.74, 12.7% strikeout rate, and 23.6% walk rate. We just saw Chris Bryant strike out on a ball that was about to, go to the next dugout, and he swung it down and a strike out double play with the hidden run on. So that wasn't too fun. They didn't score in the first inning, so now you guys can get a better price than me. So that's always good. But yeah, that's why I like the Cubs here. And hopefully we can get some runs in the near future.
No, we should get some runs out there. It's a nice weather day all the way around, so we'll see what happens in this game today. The Cardinals and the Cubs. Kyle, did you have any looks or what we're looking at today? Because through one inning of baseball, minus 132 now sitting for the Chicago Cubs with a total now of 8.5.
Yeah, let's take the pressure off Jason here. I'll make it official. I like that Cubs team total too. I know it was a dirty little double play there, but the Cubs should score today. That Oviedo guy is an absolute can, so let's hope he doesn't, no hit the rest of the way. But I like the Cubs here. The whole lineup profiles beautifully from top to bottom. Actually, the biggest disadvantage in the lineup was Chris Bryant, incidentally enough. He's just not as effective against righties as he is against lefties, but how bad, yeah, exactly, Alex. Fade Kyle today because Jason jinxed me right at the top of the show. So
selfishly
everything.
For me.
Yeah, selfishly jinxed me. Thank you very, very much for that. Yeah. It's all right. I still love you. But no, I do like the Cubs today. I do think they get to those 4.5 runs.
Yep, and I'm always a team player. I wish everybody loses but me on the show. So that's just the way I roll now. Anyway, let's get to the games on the board today because we're having something here in Major League Baseball that usually is only seen in a 7-inning ball game. And we're going to start right off the marquee right now with the Padres and the Mets. Snell, the lefty on the mound, versus Jacob deGrom, who's damn near unhittable. But look at this. Look at this across the board. Many outlets showing a total for the game at 5.5, which is outrageous. FanDuel showing a minus 172 as a favorite towards the Mets. Offshore, you can get that number at 157 at Pinnacle. So, Jason, I'm going to start with you first in this one. I know these pitchers are really good, but 5.5 is it's outrageous, and it pops up today, which is fascinating to see people break this game down and actually say, you know what, I like the under. I can see 4-1. I can see 3-2 in this spot, because we always know if both of these pitchers, Jason, throw gems and it ends 1-1 and they're both out of the game in the ninth, you're probably going to lose your 5.5. What are you looking at today in this game, Jason, between your Mets and the Padres?
Well, we saw Snell almost no-hit the Mets last week. We also saw DeGrom go 7 scoreless innings and have 11 strikeouts with just 1 walk. The reality is the Padres, I think in their 9 of their last 10 games, they've gotten 2 runs or less. They're an offense that is highly, highly overrated right now. You have Machado, you have Tatis. Nobody else really in that lineup that's really doing much damage right now or recently. The Mets lineup obviously getting a little bit better. But Snell really, he did a great job against them in his last outing. So yeah, I mean, look, it does look like an under game, but could I ever recommend 5.5? Absolutely not. So I look at the Mets maybe take minus 155 or it's a minus 165 in the full game and just roll with that. The Mets did have some success against the Padres bullpen when they're on the road. Maybe they can do that again. I feel more comfortable with DeGrom on the mound compared to Snell, who hasn't had the best of seasons. He just had a great start against the Mets. So I like the Mets here in this spot. I trust them. Their bullpen is obviously they didn't have a game yesterday, so they're rested, ready to go if they need to for the next couple of innings. So I would look at the Mets here, but I would not recommend the under.
I got a question for you on this, Jason, because I want to ask you about this game. You tweeted something which I retweeted today about spin rates in Major League Baseball now that they're really telling teams, hey, I don't care. We're taking 10 baseballs from every one of your starts, and we're going to check to see if you're doctoring a baseball. It's having a massive effect on the spin rates. Now, the reason why I bring up Jacob DeGrom at this point is I'm looking at him and saying, all right, if he's using anything here, he's doing something historically that's never been done in Major League Baseball. It's the same thing with Barry Bonds. Wait, he's going to hit the home run record. Nobody's ever done it. Well, there's a reason, because he was juicing the hell out of his body.
Never tested positive.
Never tested positive. Just, looks like he got caught in a nuclear chamber to grow his head. But anyway, getting back to DeGrom in this spot, is there any possibility that we see a 5.5 here between these two pitchers and they were doctoring the baseball? Because a little bit changes so much in a 5.5. Any thoughts behind that for you, Jason?
Well, a lot of the Mets, players took to Twitter to say that DeGrom wasn't using anything and that he was just the greatest of all time. So we'll see who's lying here. It's either the Mets players or it's DeGrom. So no, I don't think he used anything. I mean, it's obviously, really, let's be real. Probably every pitcher uses something. Yeah. It just, it's so hard right now. Obviously, we're seeing the spin rates, going down a little bit, which has been interesting, especially for team total overs, which is, I think we're on a lot of those today because of the fact that pitchers can't doctor the baseball anymore. It'll be interesting. I don't think DeGrom is using anything. I am obviously biased, but I'm also taking the Mets players' word for it as well. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun, but I don't think he uses anything.
Yeah, exactly. And Bernie Madoff was a sensational investor as well. But anyway, different little story here. Kyle, getting to this game, I just want to go down DeGrom's numbers because, again, as we talk about if anybody's doctoring the baseball, we've never seen this before. Batting average against him, 127. His whip is a .57. His ERA minus, again, the 100 mark is average in baseball. He's at a 16. His xFIP minus is a 37. His ERA is a .62. His FIP is a 1.03, and his xFIP is a 1.53. God. And again, the 5.5 makes sense just based on those numbers, but it's outrageous how well he's pitching. Again, we have never seen this before in the 150 years of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I mean that's why he's probably using maple syrup he's using something. He's using the stickiest. I'm surprised he doesn't have one of those wide receiver gloves on his hand when he walks out there. Okay, of course he's yes. Of all the, it's like the Lance Armstrong, right? Yes, everyone's using it, and the runs are down, and pitching's better than ever, and the very best ever? No, totally clean. I'm the right. Get the hell out of here. Absolutely not. But to me, it doesn't really matter. I don't think he needs it. I actually think it's safer for hitters to have that on the. You want these guys. I said it yesterday. I don't want anyone throwing 100 mile. I think Pete Alonso said it too when they were asking him about it. I don't want a dude throwing 100 miles an hour who can't control it because he put whatever the hell you want on there. Just don't hit me in the damn face is how I say it. I mean, I don't know. So this game, 5.5, it's the lowest game total that I can remember seeing all year long. I do think this is an obvious no runs first inning spot. The problem is that's at minus 204, 205. It's not juiciest of numbers. So I certainly like the Nerfy. It's one of those rare games for you DraftKings DFS players where normally I say I do not like either lineup tonight, and I don't. But I also don't want to play the other pitcher because Snell has been shaky. The Padres, if there's any lineup in baseball, they're one of the 3 or 4 lineups, you would be worried about actually doing something off of DeGrom, and eventually something's got to regress to the mean unless this guy is just going to put up just crazy historic numbers. So there's a little bit of a trap thing for me there. I do think the under 3 in the first 5 innings sort of makes sense at -120. Other than that, Nerfy, under 3. That's all I'm doing. I don't want any part of anything in DFS in this game. Feels like a trap. And either side, you can't trust the Mets lineup for anything. And then the Padres against the greatest of all time or the greatest stretch of all time makes it tough. So I'll take the under 3 runs in the first 5 and the no runs first inning.
And by the way, there's an odds boost here at the FanDuel Sportsbook, which is interesting because it parlays right into this game, something that you don't really see offered too much. Under 1.5 runs scored in the first 3 innings. That's a +120 boost. So you can allow 1 run, 2 runs you lose, but under 1.5 you do pick up the victory. It's just an interesting game to see with how low it is. And maybe I don't know, DeGrom's using deer antler spray like Ray Lewis used to lose. Maybe he's really reaching back and finding some stuff here.
I use it every day. I've been using it for years.
Kyle went 7-0 using deer antler spray the other day.
That's exactly right. I cheated.
Your capping needs, exactly. Tough game overall. It's a heavy favorite for DeGrom, but you don't make a lot of money betting against Jacob DeGrom. So we'll see if that continues today. And that game starts at 7 o'clock. Let's keep moving down here. 9:19, 9:20. I mean, the scoreboard almost broke yesterday in Boston. Let's see what happens today between Toronto and the Red Sox. Stripling and Richards on the mound. Slight favorite here, 116 to 124, depending on where you're shopping at for the hometown team, the Boston Red Sox. Over-under opened up at 9.5. Now some outlets showing as high as 10.5 here in New Jersey. Jason, I'll start with you here first. Stripling, not a great pitcher, but has had some decent outings here. I'm waiting for Gary. Like, if we're trying to, Major League Baseball does this to its own players, to its own fault. Guys like Garrett Richards who pitch well, say, how's he pitching well? Let's see what he does today in Boston, if he was using any substances on the baseball or not. Because to me, that Toronto lineup has a really good chance to get after him, unless he is doctoring the baseball. Jason, any thoughts on this game tonight?
Yeah, Richards in the last 30 days, 5.57 xFIP, striking out less than 20% of batters, walking 14%. Now he's more struggling against lefties. Strikeout rate just 11.8%, walking 11.8%. So more having trouble against lefties. The lineup obviously going to be mostly righties for the Blue Jays. So there's something there that maybe Richards can improve on. Joe Panic has actually been pretty good from the left side. I think he's really going to be the only lefty in the lineup. Maybe Tellez will be in there as well. And like you said, Stripling has been a little bit better as well. 4.31 xFIP, but a strikeout rate's really high. We'll see if he was doctoring anything with the strikeouts being a little bit higher recently after he was struggling earlier in the season. So it's a lot of wait and see type of players around here. Walking just 5%. So he was hitting the corners. He was looking good the last 30 days. So we'll see how that goes. But just based off of the numbers, I think Stripling has been the better pitcher recently. And, like I said yesterday, I'm not that high in the Red Sox offense, and I know that burned me yesterday, and maybe they're back now. But when you're looking at a bigger sample size, the Blue Jays should have the better offense in this game, especially in the first 5 going up against Garrett Richards, who really hasn't been able to strike anyone out. So I would look at the Blue Jays plus 0.5 in the first 5 at -120. If it's a tie, the Blue Jays win, and you'll get that ticket.
There you go. By the way, guys, thanks for tuning into the show. About 200 people watching live here just a few moments in, and also 86,400 people have hit the subscribe button for us here on YouTube at sportsbookreview.com. Thank you guys for doing that. Hit that notification bell. Turn it on, because when we go live and give this great information, you'll be able to come into the chat box and say hello. Also, get ready. On Monday, the contest begins for our SBR Major League Baseball contest. 20,000 up for grabs in Bitcoin, completely free. Hit the link above in the chat box right where it says SBR Sports Picks in yellow. Click on that link, get some information to get in and win some money. Kyle, I'm going to flip it over to you, but before I do, I'm going to make one quick phone call here.
Perfect.
Went to voicemail. George Springer must not be available again.
Again, yeah, no, don't worry.
Hey, don't worry, George. The money's still cashing, I guess, right, Kyle?
Everything. I spent some time on this yesterday. Like, where the hell is this guy? And everything. All I can find out right now is that he's running. He's running somewhere, and apparently it feels good. So eventually he'll I guess he'll be in this lineup, but this game's tough, right? And honestly, if I'm both these teams and I'm the manager of Toronto or Boston and I have Stripling or Richards on the mound, I'm pissed if they don't have something on their hands. You guys suck anyways. You better be trying to get better. Do whatever it takes. So this one is a little bit tough. I do agree the wheels are going to fall off for Richards eventually, but I do favor him slightly over Stripling. So it's kind of one of these things like, okay, I like Richards a little bit better. I like the Toronto lineup a little bit better. It's a little dicey. I sort of went to some recency bias. Last 3 starts for Stripling against Boston, a 2, a 16, and a 39. You go up here to Garrett Richards, a 39, an 8, and a 24. So you see that both pitchers are capable of being rocked by the opposing lineup. It's a pretty 50-50 spot. For me, I will say the Red Sox have been hot. I do think Richards has been a little bit better, just by the slightest of margins. And you're getting the Red Sox minus 0.5 at plus 120 in the first 5 innings. So maybe if you're looking for some value or you want to take a plus money spot that you have a shot at, that could be there. Me personally, staying away from this game. I do have a little sprinkle. I have 3 home run props I like today. Rafael Devers looks pretty good today. He's sitting at plus 400. He smashes righties, obviously. Stripling struggles a little bit against lefties. So Devers could be an interesting home run prop here. Maybe a slight lean to that plus money on the Red Sox in the first 5 innings, but other than that, a stay away game for me.
All right. One game that I know has a lot of interest as well, because this is one of the games that I circled, and I am going to have a value menu wager here in just a few moments. But let's take a look at this game because some changes have been made. 9:21, 9:22, 8:10 first pitch tonight. Houston is traveling to Minnesota. Urquidy is going to be on the mound versus the Uber driver Ober now, getting the start over Schumacher. So I know that sort of dampens us a little bit because we know Schu is good for what? 5 innings, 5 earned runs, and a whole lot of fun if you're going against them. But if we take a look, Jason, at the lineup here, it doesn't change much here going from Schumacher to Ober being a righty. Now, this guy gets lit up by lefties. You don't have a lot of lefties in the lineup here that will be available for the Astros. Looks like Alvarez, Brantley, and Tucker. The rest would be righties. But even so, like, Ober's not a great pitcher. Look at some of the weighted on base averages coming into this game for the Houston Astros. 347, 356, 335, 373, 375, 358, 378. This team should hit a full 9 at bats. And the ball is flying out of Target Field this year. But again, the same thing comes in yesterday where I told you guys, I really like the New York Yankees. Boy, if they were a 4.5 or 5, we probably would have made that our play of the day. They end up with only 5 runs, but guess what? 5.5s and 6s were the rule around these sports books, which I would have taken a loss if I went with that. You're getting another high price today, 5.5s minus 120, so you need 6 to cash. But to be honest, Jason, I still think they cashed that 5.5.
Yeah, the Astros offense, obviously, it's they've been really good. They scored 8 runs last night. They've been consistent, even against righties. Like you said, it's going to be over on the mound. Shoemaker might come in later in the game. They say he's in the bullpen, but they didn't say specifically he's coming in. But I would assume he's going to be, obviously, because he's.
They don't even want him around the team, Jason. They're like, dude,
he's so bad.
I know.
Get the hell out of here. So bad.
But he's rested. He's got 5 days of rest, so he's capable of going out there. So I think if Ober does struggle, he should be out there. And Urquidy, in the last 30 days, he's been terrific. Well, not if you look at like earned runs, but if you look at xFIP, his K rate and his walk rate all been excellent. 2.55 xFIP, 32.1% strikeout rate, and walking just 1.8% of batters in the last 30 days. So I do think he had a great game. I do think the Astros scored some runs. So I look at the minus 0.5 in the first 5 for the Astros there at minus 115.
There you go. So rolling it over here, Kyle, what's your thoughts on this game today with the Astros and the Minnesota Twins? And yes, the third show, Sports and Speedos, brand new thing. Kyle's working on behind the scenes, so check your local listings for that show. It should be interesting. Pics of Kyle while he's wearing Speedos on a golf course.
Correct.
Unbelievable stuff here. Talk about this game up there in Minnesota, the Astros and the Twins. I don't know how you go with the Twins, but hey,
no. And look, I'm bummed that it's not Shoemaker starting, but they did announce. Their announcement was Ober starting and Shoemaker available out of the bullpen. That tells me they're telling him, hey, sorry, buddy, we're going to throw this guy out there. He's going to get smacked around. But we'll wait till like the 3rd or 4th inning when the game's over and there's not as much pressure on you. Maybe you won't be so bad. No, it's Astros for me. It's one of my favorite plays of the day. I would like it a whole lot more if it was just Shoemaker starting. We can get this done really, really quick. We might get that anyways. Astros minus 0.5 in the first 5, minus 120. Makes way too much sense. Alex Bregman hasn't shown a ton of power this year. He's got like, what, 6 or 7 home runs? I do think he hits one tonight. This is the best hitting conditions in all of baseball tonight. You got warm weather, wind blowing, double digits out. And yeah, I will take Alex Bregman at plus 450. Damn, chat box. I'm telling you, that's good stuff in there. That is good stuff in there. And I will have my Speedos on it. It's a very scary show. And don't you guys forget, I'm a grower, not a shower, so I don't need all your judgmental comments, okay? But nonetheless, I will take the Astros minus 0.5 in the first 5 and a little sprinkle on Bregman home run prop plus 450. I think you can get it done tonight.
There you go. All right, let's get to some action here. We're going to the value menu wagers today, firing on fast food. Picked up some fast food last night with an easy one on the Miami Marlins. I'll start off first. I'm going to keep with the same game we just went over today. This is a high price. It's another one. I would have loved to have made this my best bet in banker because, quite frankly, whether it's Schumacher or Ober on the mound from Minnesota, I'm getting a full 9 at-bats with the Astros, and they lace them up and shoot them out. I think they'll be able to win this game easily. But, again, we're talking about a 5.5 number here at BetMGM at minus 120. There's not a lot of, easiness, as I like to say, trying to get to 6 runs. That's a tough bill to get to. I think they still get to. So instead of like a play of the day, I'm going to make this my value menu wager. I think the Houston Astros can get to 6 runs over 9 innings, beat up on that bad bullpen, beat up on that bad starting pitching. Add on 2 in the first, 1 in the third, 2 in the fourth. Get this one over quickly. My value on the card today is with those Houston Astros. Jason, take it away. Where's that value for you today?
Yeah, so looking at that Rangers versus Dodgers game, the 10 o'clock Eastern start time. Fulte on the mound for the Rangers. His last start against the Rockies was really dreadful. 8 hits, didn't even go 4 innings in that game. The Dodgers lineup, like Donnie said originally, they've got a healthy lineup now, and they got a lot of nice lefties in that lineup again, like Bellinger being back in there. Other guys at the bottom of the order have already hit Fulte for home runs in the past. So I like the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total against Fulte at minus 125. Now I like the Dodgers full game, first 5 and all that, but the lines are it's ridiculous right now. There's really no value from there. I do think Kershaw has a really great game, and you can look at the minus 1.5 in the full game if you want to go that direction. But I was even seeing some 2.5s now, which is something we haven't really seen too often in the first place. So I'm going with the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total as the value play at minus 125.
There you go. Let's cash some of those tickets in here. Kyle, before we get to our best bets and bankers, where's the value on your card tonight?
My value, so I'm going to start right here with the White Sox. Team total over 4.5. Look, they're going against, we love the White Sox versus lefties. We've sort of gone away from it the last couple times. But tonight we get our boy Skubal, the worst lefty in all of baseball. We get him tonight against the White Sox. Every hitter has an advantage. White Sox team total over 4.5 minus 130. Why is it on the value menu? Because you're right. We have seen the trends. We know that runs are down. We know that things are a little bit different. But, man, it's hard for me not to take the best hitting team against lefties in baseball against the worst lefty in baseball, Skubal. Give me that White Sox team total over 4.5 minus 130. I'm also with Jason. I like that Dodgers team total over 4.5 minus 130. It's Fulton-Yevich. It's a righty. It's a bad righty, one of the, 5, 6 worst righties in all of baseball in terms of starting pitching. Jason touched on all the lefties, Lux, Muncy, Bellinger, etc. Bellinger, by the way, plus 300 on the home run prop. We called his first home run of the season on this show. He hit a grand slam in the first inning. We're going to call the second one tonight. I like Bellinger for his second home run tonight off of Fulton-Yevich at plus 300. No runs first inning. Mets Padres, to recap some of the home run props. Devers plus 400. Bregman plus 450. Bellinger plus 300. And if you want an NBA value menu wager, how about Michael Porter Jr. over 17.5 points tonight?
Yeah. Look at that. Doubleheader NBA tonight. The one thing, it's good you picked the second game. Blowout first game, Sixers roll. So no need to even recap on that one. But let's get into our best bets and bankers on the Major League Baseball card. I'm back in play tonight. It's over on the season 21-9, rated 70%. Numbers are in. We're taking this low and slow. We should be able to hit this one tonight. And here's what I'm digging on. 76 degrees at first pitch, and the roof is open. So where are we going? Not into the desert. We're actually going to the Milwaukee Brewers. And the good thing, we always like to share the information that we have. There's a hotline number, 414-902-4636. You call that every day, the Brewers at home. They will tell you within 7 or 8 hours of the game, which are right around noon my time, if the roof is going to be open, closed, or maybe a chance that it's going to be shut. 76 degrees at first pitch. It will be cloudy skies there, but they are opening the roof, so you let that heat and humidity in. If we take a look at the Brewers over the last 8 games, here are the runs that they've been scoring. 7, 7, 5, 7, 2, which is a bad one, 5, 3, and then 7. 6 out of the last 8 games, they scored 5 or more runs. So we're going to go against a young pitcher in DeYoung who's allowed 3 home runs in 10 innings this year. Now, again, you're looking at a short sample size just this year. Keep in mind, those 2 starts that he had were at PNC Ballpark in Pittsburgh, which is a phenomenal pitcher's ballpark. And guess what 2 teams he faced? Was it the Dodgers? No. Was it the Yankees? No. Was it a team that can actually hit home runs? No. It was the Rockies and the Marlins he faced. So now you say, well, Donnie, the Brewers aren't that much better. Well, I mean, they are markedly better than those 2 teams, but it's not as if he pitched in Colorado in 90 degrees with the wind blowing out. And he's like, hey, man, everybody's going to give up home runs in this one. Now let's take a look. No road starts in 2021. Let's get to the bottom of this guy and what he's done over the past couple years in Major League Baseball throughout his career. He's thrown 62 innings in his career. Now get this, versus lefties in those 62 innings, a 355 weighted on base average, getting slaughtered. How about against righties? 393 against righties. So it doesn't matter if lefties or righties are in the lineup, they should be able to hit. Let's take a look at him on the road, weighted on base averages. So outside of pitching like PNC Ballpark or in a friendly environment, to lefties, 440 on the road. To righties, 399. Again, extremely elevated. Let's take a look at xFIP numbers, which tells you the real tale of how these pitchers are actually doing against the batters. On the road, an xFIP in his career to lefties of 6.64. So you're saying, hey, to righties, he's probably doing a good job. 6.70. That means damn near every single pitch, he's not striking anybody out and the ball is in the air. Also, we're taking a look at the Pittsburgh Pirates, a bad bullpen. On the road, ERA of close to 5. If this guy goes 5 innings, you're going to get 6, 7, and 8 against that bad bullpen. Also, let's just take a look. You need the ball to leave the yard in order to cash some of these team totals. Everybody loves a 2-run or a 3-run home run. Take a look at the fly ball percentage for DeYoung in his career. To lefties, 47%. To righties, 50%. That leaves out there's 3 ways you can hit a baseball: on the ground, line drive, or in the air. Ground ball percentage, which is the one you want to look at to get you out of innings with double plays. 27% to lefties, 30% to righties. The ball is going to be a line drive or in the air. Let's get after it tonight. The Brewers team total over 4.5, minus 114. We're getting 5 runs. We're cashing it. Jason, take it away.
Oh.
Yeah. So right now I'm currently on the Cubs over 4.5 on the team total. That was one of my best bets. You can now get 3.5 team total at minus 130 after 2 innings, but still confident in this one, of course, because Kyle said so. So gotta stay confident now. But if you look at it though, the first time he faces the lineup, Oviedo is actually not pitching that poorly, just allowing a 191 average OPS of 628. The second time he faces an order, it gets to 820 on the OPS. The third time he faces an order, if he gets to that point, it's an OPS of 1.500. So as the game continues, he gets worse. He stops striking out batters and all of that. So I still think the Cubs should do damage later in this game, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and so on, and get those 5 runs. For us, just 1 big inning is all we need there. But again, I'm on the Cubs over 4.5 on the team total. You can now get 3.5 at around minus 130. The other banker, the one tonight, it's the Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5, minus 150. So the juice is high, but it makes sense because Freeland on the mound for the Rockies on the road. The Rockies have been terrible on the road, offensively scoring just 1.24 runs in the first 5 innings all season long. And then you have Freeland, who has an xFIP of 6.99 in his first 3 starts, 11.1% strikeout rate, and 12.7% walk rate. That's more Ks, or that's more walks than Ks. 0.588 weighted OBA to the lefties, and a 333 ISO as the Cardinals just scored again. So if they want to score 4 runs, that's completely fine with me there. So, but yeah, like I said, Freeland hasn't looked great in his return to the diamond. And I do expect the Reds, who now have Joey Votto back in the lineup, a lefty that could hit against a lefty like Freeland. They could do some damage there. And I love that Reds lineup, especially at home, where they've been a lot better than compared to on the road. And Mahle also, he's been really good, 3.32 ERA on the year, xFIP of 3.62. He's gotten the job done. He's looked fine. And expect that against the Rockies as well. So, again, banker of the day, Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5. At minus 150, I know the juice is high, but it just makes perfect sense here.
There you go, rolling along. And also, you can't get mad. You say if you have the Cubs on their team total, you need a running mate. So your goal is for St. Louis to get 4 runs because what's that mean? You're going to at least bat in the bottom of the 9th with a chance to get that 5th run, hopefully down the road. Kyle, best bets and bankers, what you got today?
Let's rock and roll. So, as so astutely noted in the chat box, Scooble did have maybe the best start of his entire life last week against the White Sox. Time before that, it was -3. I expect things to regress back towards the mean. Let's not also forget Giolito going up against Detroit today. It's the lowest weighted 3-year OPS again of any starting pitcher against an opposing team today is Giolito versus Detroit. So I've got the White Sox minus 0.5 in the first 5, minus 105. We talked about this Astros game. I do think they get it done, whether it's Shoemaker coming in the 3rd inning after Ober or the 4th. I think they get it done in the first 5, minus 0.5 at minus 120. I actually did a little parlay. The Dodgers number is too juiced to make it worth mentioning on the show in the first 5 innings, but I did a little 3-team parlay taking the minus 0.5 on all 3. That ended up going to plus 465, so I threw $100 on it to win $465. Okay. I think that's a decent little 3-pick parlay in the first 5 innings. White Sox, Astros, Dodgers. That's what we're doing, right? We already did the value menu, so those are our plays. So those are my 2 plays of the day. White Sox minus 0.5 first 5, Astros minus 0.5 first 5. I think just the best advantages on paper. If you want to make it a little parlay and juice it up more, add the Dodgers in there. You get over plus 400. I think that's a nice little piece tonight, and you should be sitting pretty by the time the night ends.
There you go. Odds lightning round as we work our way through the rest of the card today. Jason, we'll start with you first. The game that was rained out yesterday, 9:03, 9:04. That is San Francisco and Washington. Scherzer on the mound today, 180 favorite here in New Jersey, 173 offshore. Quick thoughts on that game with a 7.5. We capped it yesterday, but just something for the people out there.
Yeah, again, Nationals minus 0.5 in the first 5. Nationals over on their team total. I think it's at 3.5. It might have changed. I think it's at 3.5, but even at 4.5, I still wouldn't mind it against DeSclafani. They got really good numbers against DeSclafani, and I think Scherzer ends up having a big strikeout day as well, so you go get that prop there for the strikeouts. I think Nationals got the job done here.
All right, we'll keep moving forward. Atlanta and Miami. Kyle Morton versus Alcantara. 7s across the board at the total. So another low number, 118 and 114. This line crashing down in New Jersey, about 16 cents, down about 6 cents offshore. Braves didn't show really at the plate at all against the Philadelphia Phillies in a pretty good hitting environment. So now we're going down to South Florida, which is, we know, one of the bigger ballparks. But I still look at that Atlanta lineup. Those ISO power numbers versus righties all the way up and down. They can get you at any time. Is Atlanta waking up today? What do you think?
I think they do. And look, you're getting the Braves. How many times have we talked about it now as team totals sit at those 4.5s and we're scared to take them? You're getting the Atlanta Braves at 3.5. Now it's minus 145. But if I'm leaning away here, I am going to lean towards the Braves. Now, Morton, sort of up and down, but his last 2 starts against Miami, 43 and 30 fantasy points. Actually, 3 straight games of 30 or better, including a 58. I'm leaning Atlanta here. I like them in the first 5 innings. I like their team total. I'm looking at in the first 5, you're getting them at plus 125, minus 0.5. You can take a minus 120 on the money line. When you're getting a number like that, Braves, Marlins, look, I get the Marlins are pitching well, Rogers, etc. They scored 11 runs yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Braves. Better lineup. I think the slight pitching advantage here with Morton over Alcantara, getting that plus number, minus 0.5. Let's go Braves.
Gas can in Colorado today. Or actually, the game is in Cincinnati, but the Colorado gas can. Freeland, the lefty on the mound today. 9s across the board. Massive favorite here between Mahle and the Reds, Jason.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm on the Reds, minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 150. The Rockies have been historically bad on the road. They're not scoring many runs on the road, and Mahle's been pretty good throughout the entire season. Just a couple really poor starts that have kind of affected his ERA just a little bit, but he's been really good. And Freeland, since coming back into the onto the diamond, has not looked good at all. Like I said, against lefties, 588 weighted OBA, ISO of 333 against lefties. Now you got Votto back in the lineup, a lefty that can obviously have power. So I like that, and obviously you have also Winker in the lineup. You should do some damage as a lefty as well. So I'm all on the Reds here, minus 0.5 in the first 5, and I wouldn't mind the team total at 4.5 either.
All right, we'll skip over the Pittsburgh-Milwaukee game. I do have my banker in that one, over 4.5 for Milwaukee. It's kind of funny to see Milwaukee a minus 310 favorite here in New Jersey.
Crazy.
Good Lord. I mean, it tells you how good Woodruff has been, but also how ridiculous the Pittsburgh Pirates are at this point. So, Kyle, I'm going to switch down and give this one to you. Always seemingly goes on Baltimore, down in the ballpark of doom, as I like to call it, down in Tampa Bay, where nothing leaves the ballpark. Aiken's on the mound. He's been okay this year. Yarbrough, the lefty. It's just hard to say, I'm going to take Baltimore on the road to go against Tampa Bay. But the fact of the matter is, Tampa Bay typically doesn't score that much. They don't profile well versus lefties. Is this a decent look at a dog of about 157 to 160? Or is it like, hey, I ain't messing around with Baltimore on the road?
It sort of is. So when I was going through all the dogs who I like, this is the second time this week. The first time we nailed it. We got the Orioles. They beat the Mets 10-3. And it's just one of those things. You're right. The Rays lineup does not profile well against lefties. And the fact outside of Arozarena, right? Like who's the righty that really takes advantage? Manuel Margot, is that what we're going with? Not really. There's just not a lot there. So I stayed away from this game. Typically I would try to find some value in those first 5 innings with Tampa Bay. They're clearly the better team. But if you're looking to get a little bit risky, maybe something, then I think Baltimore is a live dog tonight. And you're right, Aiken hasn't been terrible. Should be able to get through it. Maybe you take the under in the first 5 innings in this game. Wouldn't shock me if it goes under that 4. Both pitchers should be able to get it done.
Yeah, take a look. If you actually look at the lineups and the way they set up today, Baltimore actually has the better lineup versus lefties here. They look really good, weighted on base average all the way through. It's just a matter of, all right, when you get to the bullpens and match it up, it's such a mismatch between the two typically that it's hard to take it. But I see where you're going in this one. Going to Jason, 9:15, 9:16 quickly on the White Sox in Detroit. Giolito versus Skubal, 166 to 160 favorite on the road for the White Sox. I know a lot of people just like to go and take the White Sox against a lefty pitcher. One of the guys we targeted for the first 6 weeks of the season, Skubal, was horrendous, but seemingly getting it together. This is one of their pedigree pitchers coming up from the minor leagues that hasn't worked out all that well, but maybe getting it together. What are your thoughts real quick on this game, Jason?
Yeah, both pitchers have really done well recently. Their xFIPs are both really low. Giolito, 3.70 in the last 30 days. Skubal, interestingly enough, 3.33 xFIP in the last 30 days. He's turned it around, 36.5% strikeout rate, 8.7 walk rate, a little bit high, but not terrible. But he's still been bad against lefties. Well, how many lefties will be in the lineup for the White Sox? Not many. But Giolito has been really, really great, too. Yeah, he allowed 4 runs to the Tigers his last time out, but there were 3 home runs with 9 strikeouts and no walks. I still like Giolito more. I would still lean towards the White Sox, but I don't think there's going to be much scoring in that first 5 innings. So under 4.5 in the first 5, but I would lean towards the White Sox in the first 5 to also win.
All right, keep moving here down as we go. Seattle and Cleveland, Dunn versus Savali. Dunn is an xFIP machine, meaning like he's just waiting to get blown up every single game. It seems like 178 opening up at FanDuel, or excuse me, sitting at 178, opened up at 158 at FanDuel, 178 now, 150s to 160s at some other outlets, a 9 across the board. Always tough in these games. You never know what you're going to get out of the Cleveland bats here, but they should be able to stack up some lefties going up against Dunn. Any thoughts on this game as we take a look here, Kyle?
I'm still trying to clear my brain as I just looked at Skubal's last 4 starts. What in the hell happened? Jesus Christ. I mean, that sort of happened under my radar, but whatever. White Sox are getting it done tonight. Stays on the official play. I would lean the Indians here, obviously minus 0.5 in the first 5. Dunn has had some like solid outings and sort of numbers, but you're right. That is just like we talked about. Who's the guy? Gant, right? Like, the wheels are going to come off the bus eventually. It feels like this could be where it happened. Indians certainly have the pitching matchup advantage here. I will lean Indians. You can get a minus 165 in the money line first 5. Minus 0.5, minus 120 in the first 5 might be the way I would go. I'm leaning Indians here, but not a whole lot of love here. Ramirez and Haniger are both live for DFS. I don't mind them if you want to put them in your DraftKings lineup.
All right, keep moving here. Kansas City and Oakland, which yesterday Oakland absolutely drew dead against the Kansas City Royals. And today, I agree with the price drop here as well. Pinnacle opened up offshore at 140. That now sits at 126. New Jersey here at FanDuel, 146. That dropped to 132. as we take a look, and usually you say, hey, I really like the way that Oakland looks. Their lineup, one of these teams that I was very high on just a couple weeks ago just looks very pedestrian as we move forward. So I'll go to you here, Jason, in this game, looking between Singer and Singer and Cole Irvin, the lefty on the mound. 8, pitcher's ballpark line dropping. Maybe Kansas City is live today for me.
Yeah, but, also Singer, .401 weighted OBA in his last 75 plate appearances against the lefties, .206 ISO. So there's still some potential there for some of the bats in the lineup, Olsen, Moreland, Brown for the Athletics. And, yeah, they haven't been great. But I also don't know if I want to rely on the Royals offense either. And like we talked about before, though, also Irvin, he's worse against the lefties as a lefty pitcher, which has just been really weird. Although, look, he hasn't been great at all recently. But the reality is the Royals, their offense hasn't been great all month either. They only have really Perez and Santana that have done well against lefties in the first place. The rest of the lineup has just been really not consistent at all. So I think I'd go with the A's minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 105. Can't really trust either lineup. Can't really trust either pitcher. Tough game to cap.
By the way, here, Jason, looks like Oviedo is putting his name in for Cy Young Award winner today. So
no walks.
We'll get some runs later.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's my
walks.
fault. Remember, I took this one official. Although I took this official, but it's going to be your fault, Jason, for jinxing the shit out of me to start this show.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Ohtani and Kelly on the mound. I had this game circled, and I do like the Angels, but it looks like the roof will be closed tonight for Arizona. But also keep in mind, sometimes they open that roof later to mid in the game. Keep in mind, only 4 minutes it takes to open that roof, I was reading. So, hey, if you want to pop it open between innings in the third and fourth inning, let that heat and humidity get in there late. They do that sometimes as well. Here's the good part about the Angels lineup, which seemingly coming to life and playing good baseball over the last 20 games. Ohtani is a great hitting pitcher. He is going to be hitting tonight in the lineup. So it's like you have an American League lineup theoretically here with Ohtani in the mound. So you don't have a true pitcher that's going to be hitting at least over the first 5 to 6 innings. I do think the Angels can get to their 4.5. Just missed on my card here. 9s across the board, 137 to 140 as a favorite towards the Angels. Arizona's a mess. They're firing everybody. They can't get out of their own way, Kyle. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I'm with you. This is actually the best the Angels lineup has looked on paper for a matchup for me in weeks. Yep. I love how this lineup looks. Now, I will say Kelly hasn't been a complete disaster, and he's actually really cheap on DraftKings. So if you want to sort of go the contrarian route on DraftKings, get low ownership with some high upside, Merrill Kelly is your guy. But this is the best the Angels lineup has profiled for me in a long time that I can remember. Since Mike Trout has been out, this is the best that lineup has looked. They were close for me too, Donnie. They were about to be on my value menu at minus 0.5 at even money in the first 5 innings. Ohtani, you got the pitching advantage, you got the lineup advantage, you get to keep that pitcher spot you get to use on a real hitting pitcher. It's advantages across the board for the Angels, right? I like the Angels.
Yeah, I just was hoping that because the good part about it is Arizona is very good. You can go to their website and they'll tell you days in advance whether or not that roof is going to be open. So they don't hide anything, which is great. But it does show this entire weekend closed, and it's the desert. It's getting in the summer. I believe the average temperature, Kyle, is 114 this weekend per day. But it does cool down a little bit at night into the mid-70s, and sometimes they open that roof. So if you see one of those games out in Arizona where it's 1-0, 2-1 through 4 or 5 innings, the roof opens up. Things get interesting because that heat and humidity does come in once they open that. Last game we'll talk about quickly here, Jason. Texas and the Dodgers, Fultonavich and Kershaw. What are some thoughts you have on this game?
Yeah, I got the value menu wager on the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total. Like we've been saying the last week, the Dodgers, they're the healthiest they've been all season long. They look really good. They got some really great lefties in the lineup. Also, the bottom tier righties in that lineup also have some success against Fulte already. Kershaw, he struggled the last 2. But we talked about the Rangers and their offense against lefties. It's been awful, non-existent, against like Wood and Gomber and whatnot. So I do think Kershaw gets back on track here. So either way you want to look at it, I like the Dodgers, but there's really no value with the Dodgers when you're taking them at the full game. So I'd rather just go Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total there as the value menu wager play.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it up and clear the bases and get out of here. Thank you guys for watching the show today because you didn't miss much from a soccer game, Kyle. 15 minutes in, there's no score, so a lot of excitement going on in that game. And, a lot of interesting stuff. But let's load up here. I'm going to go over my value menu wager, which I did have today on the Houston Astros at 5.5. They're going to have to get the 6 runs for me to cash that ticket. Still think they do. Decent hitting weather up in Minnesota. Not a great pitching matchup. A lot of easy at-bats here for the Houston Astros I'm anticipating. But my best bet and banker is going to come from the Milwaukee Brewers team total over 4.5. We'll see if that carries it through. Jason, wrap it up here. What do you got for your value menu wagers and also one of your best bets and bankers as well?
Yep, so the Dodgers over 4.5 on the team total. That's the value play. In the late night play that you guys could all get on, Reds minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 150. A little steep, but we're going with it anyway.
All right, Kyle, what do you got here? Value and also bankers.
Real quick, I saw someone say, can you guys cap the Washington Giants game? That game is most likely going to be rained out again. If it doesn't, we capped it yesterday. I think we were all on Washington, Scherzer over Desclafani. We'll leave it at that. First 5 innings, not getting a ton of value, but Scherzer should get it done over Desclafani if that game indeed plays. So I like the White Sox first 5 minus 0.5. I like that Astros minus 0.5, minus 120. I even like the Dodgers. You're not getting any value on that, but if you add it to a parlay, it juices you up. Like I said, I got those 3 minus 0.5 at plus 465 if you're looking for a little trifecta. On the value menu, give me the White Sox team total against the lefty Skubal and that bullpen over 4.5, minus 130. Dodgers, Jason touched on it beautifully just moments ago. Team total over 4.5, minus 130. No runs first inning Mets and Padres at minus 204. Rafael Devers, Alex Bregman, Cody Bellinger, home run props, plus 400, plus 450, plus 300. Over in the Sixers-Hawks game. Suns money line, Michael Porter Jr. over points, and Kevin Huter over 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. There you go.
Yeah, Herder stinks. He ain't doing nothing tonight. So that's what it is. Thank you guys for another great week here on the channel with our sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball shows. We carry it into the weekend. Let's see if we can cash these tickets. As I said, Fridays have been very good to us. Why not another Friday that can turn into a nice little payday for us? I'm Donnie Seymour for Jason Radowitz and Kyle Purviance. We are the sportsbookreview.com Major League Baseball team. Good luck this weekend. Good luck on those wagers.